Bonjour, mesdames and messieurs. On this episode of ADH Live HD, we are heading to Paris. It's all going down right now. Hang on. Well, hello. We are together again. Hope I didn't drive anyone crazy with that weird accent. I'm not sure even myself what exactly it was I was trying to do there. That's right. We are in Paris today, and I thought I'd keep the mood running by leaving that music running on in the background if you can still hear it, but if it gets annoying or if it's too loud or if it's louder than me and you'd rather hear my voice, let me know and I can turn it off. I'm always trying to figure out how to manage the balance between me and the music. So as all these live streams tend to go, I have to do first a sound check because in the last stream, the microphone wasn't even on for the first, 5 minutes. So just a quick check. Make sure the microphone is working. Everything sounds okay. And if so, we will proceed with the stream. So I'll give us just a minute here to get feedback here. Awesome. 10-10, 5-5. Okay. So that's right. Here we are. We are in Paris. And today we're going to be taking a look at two wonderful products. The first is going to be the centerpiece, Paris itself. And this is a lovely freeware city scenery that was released, I believe it was either in September, at the end of September, or early October of last year. And a number of you have been afraid to install it because you're afraid that it's going to ruin your P3D, or you're afraid that you're going to install it and you're never going to be able to remove it. So what I did here was I made sure I got everything working, which it works just fine. Now I do use the migration tool. So the migration tool puts it right in prepared version 3, the latest version. And I even practiced uninstalling it just to see if it was completely uninstallable. And all you really need to do is just remove it from the scenery library. And FTX OpenLC Europe just takes over the area again, and all you have to do is really just delete the folder. So it comes with its own installer, and there it is, just coming into view here. It is a very, very lovely scenery, and it's free. So I know that France VFR has, I think, a payware offering that's not cheap, and this rivals that pretty significantly. And there is Paris. I remember my very first trip here, actually. Many years ago. Actually, it's been well over a decade ago, my very first trip to Paris. I had a flight from London on British Midland, BMI. For those of you who remember that airline, terrific little airline. And I arrived at what appeared to be a giant brown spaceship. And on the inside, complete with all of these different escalators and very interesting architecture, Terminal 1. And from there, a small bus trip over to the train station, and then the subway where I exited the 15th district and was transported to another land. I remember growing up as a kid in the 80s and always seeing Paris in various movies or represented in cartoons like the old Bugs Bunny cartoons and Pepe Le Pew, and always had this thought as a young kid that Paris was, I guess, like a fantasy fairy tale land that probably didn't really exist. I guess it was always kind of the de facto presentation of Europe, or what I guess how Americans saw Europe. But as a kid, I mean, you know, you're bound by the limitations of the dictatorship of your parents, so you can only go as far as they let you go. And Paris always seemed like something that was it might as well have been Mars, you know, just a place that's so far away that maybe I never would have been able to visit. But my first trip there, exited the train station in the 15th district, and there it was. You could only see the very, very top of it, but you could see the very top of the Eiffel Tower, and I think that's when it hit me. Oh my God, I'm really here. This is really Paris. So I made my way over to my hotel in the 15th, and I didn't spend a moment's notice. Dropped my bags and headed straight out to the Eiffel Tower. And just being able to keep my eyes on it just above the buildings, I was able to follow my way all the way down to the Eiffel Tower, which was only about maybe a mile from my hotel, maybe a mile and a half. And finally I got there, and it loomed before me, and I remember it to this day. It was a magnificent experience to really be there. And being such a World War II guy and loving World War II, and remembering Hitler's first trip to Paris, and the fact that the Parisians at the time, anticipating his arrival, had destroyed the elevators in the Eiffel Tower so that he would not be able to take the elevator atop their wonderful structure. And so the only choice he had was to take the stairs, which he refused to do. So he never stood atop the Eiffel Tower. And so when I finally got there, I knew that even before I got there, even before I even got on the plane, that I would be taking the stairs all the way to the top in defiance. And, there was, I guess, maybe two things that made that decision for me. And the other one was that really long-ass line waiting for the elevators. Looks like double bridges there, perhaps? Or is that the train? Oh, that's the train that runs along top. That particular pont, I should say ponts instead of bridges. And so back then, they let you take the stairs all the way to the very top. And I actually have a lot of pictures of myself going up those stairs. Wow, it must have taken me... Probably took me an hour to take the stairs. It took me about roughly an hour to take the stairs all the way up to the top. But I was young and agile, and I could do that back then. I'd like to think I could still do that now. I hope so. But I took the stairs all the way to the top of the Eiffel Tower. And once I was at the top, I was greeted with the most beautiful view I had ever seen in my life. From there, just looking out a little bit towards the north, I could see the Arc de Triomphe. And I decided, oh, that looks very close. I can walk there from here. So after spending my time atop the Eiffel Tower, I took the stairs back down again. Actually, I think they made you take the elevator down a portion of the way. I don't think I could take the stairs all the way down. But I went to the bottom and began my trek to the Arc de Triomphe, where I was again met with a bunch of stairs. A long, narrow, and winding staircase to the top of that. No elevators that time. And again, I was met with what actually I think is an even more beautiful view, because the only problem with the view atop the Eiffel Tower is there's no Eiffel Tower in the view as you look out along Paris. And when you're on the Arc de Triomphe, you can actually see the Eiffel Tower, which makes that view even better. And from there, I scanned out along the view, and I had the La Défense off to the north, and I had, which I could barely make out with my binoculars, which was Notre Dame. And I decided today we're gonna stay with the old view of Paris. There's Tour Montparnasse off just to our 12 o'clock here. And so then I continued my walk along Avenue Champs-Élysées, all the way past the Louvre and over to Ile de la Cité to Notre Dame. Stayed there, spent a lot of time hanging out there. Actually, Notre Dame actually kind of freaked me out. I remember when I walked in there, it was very dark and kind of cold, and the whole Gothic cathedral architecture is just kind of freaky. And then at some point, someone just started playing that massive organ, and that's when I'm out. Okay. I think that's about as much as I can take. But yes, Paris, and I was only there for, I think, 3 days. And over the next 15 months, I visited an additional 4 times because I couldn't stay away. Paris is just such an amazing city, lots of architecture. You have the Picasso Museum there, who happens to be my favorite artist. And just somewhat similar to that of London, you have a very eclectic feel of architecture from old to new. And just some of the many things that keeps bringing me back to this wonderful city. So it's not just the baguettes. So we are taking a look at the wonderful freeway. As you can see there are some gaps in the scenery where there are no buildings. It doesn't completely cover everything. I think my autogen settings are set to maximum if I remember correctly. But you'll note here there are a lot of, actually pretty much almost every major landmark in the city is here. And you can kind of spot them out for yourselves as we kind of fly over. And again, this is free, and I'll have to make it a point to, or rather, if you head over to airdailyx.net, on the news page now, you can actually see the link for this wonderful freeware scenery. And right now, actually, let's take a look at the frames that I'm getting here. Getting about 55 frames per second right now. There's Champs-Élysées there as we fly over the Arc de Triomphe. And I think we have the Louvre here just off to our right. And for freeware scenery, they have actually done a magnificent job. Very well done. And like I said, they've corrected the city over the default and have added pretty much all of the major landmarks here. And so far, it's pretty easy on frames. You do get 2 options when you download this. You get a 1, I think, centimeter per pixel resolution, and then the other, I think, is a 5 centimeter per pixel resolution, something like that. So you get a choice between the 2. I remember my first trip into the Louvre, and I think that was a following day. I did what everyone does, is you run off to find the Mona Lisa, which you discover is nowhere near as big as you think it is, and it's high up on this wall, and it's crowded in this huge room opposite Madonna on the rocks there, and that lasts for about maybe 5 minutes, and you're like, all right, well, let's see what else the museum has to offer. And long story short, I wound up lost. I think I got lost in there at some point, but anyway, I was stuck in there for about a good 5 hours. So I guess you can never really get lost in a place like Paris, but yeah, it took me a while to find the exit, but in doing so, I wound up on the complete opposite side of the museum in Napoleon's apartments. And if you've not been on that part of the museum, the Napoleon apartments are really impressive. They have all of his original furniture, and you've got like his bed that's like made of solid gold and just all kinds of crazy stuff, but really amazing. You know, his actual carpet, like, wow, he walked on that carpet and slept on that bed. And so really, really fascinating stuff. Really fascinating. The Louvre. And then you have Montmartre, which is, I think, somewhere off to our left here. And I remember that first night in Paris, and it's funny because I live in LA, so being Hollywood, you think that, I guess, if I would do something like this in Paris, I'd do it in Hollywood as well, but I don't do that here. But when I got to Paris that first night, for some reason, I wanted to visit all the locations that I knew from movies over the years. And some of my favorite movies, like Ronin or The Bourne Identity, for example. And the first thing I wanted to do was find a lot of the shooting locations for Ronin. And one of the most important scenes, if you remember, is at the very beginning and at the very end of the film. At the beginning, I think it's what's his name? Our main actor there. Why is his name escaping me right now? Robert De Niro, where he's standing next to these steps near a cafe in Montmartre, and then it ends basically the same way in that same spot. And so that first year I didn't find those steps. And in Montmartre there's thousands of these steps everywhere, and I could not find the steps on my first trip. And on my second trip I actually met some other tourists. I think there was a girl from Canada, and another girl was from Seattle, and a guy that was from London. And oddly enough, he was doing the exact same thing that I was doing, which was looking for those steps in Montmartre, where that takes place in Ronin. And he actually found them and actually gave me advice on how to find them. And so that's how I found them again on my second trip to Paris. But the first night on my first trip to Paris, I actually found the scene where they have the shootout, where they do the gun exchange. And I came across that on accident, where I was walking along the Seine, and there's this tunnel in front of me, and I'm like, yeah, I kind of had this feeling of deja vu, like I've been here before, or I've seen this before. And then that's when I realized, oh, this is the scene where they have the shootout. So that was pretty cool, and I just stood there and, took pictures, and just like, wow, this is where Ronin was shot. And then it was about sunset, so the sun was going down, and the sky had this orange glow that was descending into this beautiful purple that was reflecting off of the clouds. And, at the time, I'm young, I'm in my early 20s, and I'm thinking to myself, when you're young in your early 20s, the word romance or romantic doesn't really mean shit. Like, what does it mean to be romantic? I don't know what that means. I'm a guy, girls, they do the whole romantic, stuff. But then I started looking around the Seine and looking at all the people, the couples holding hands and French kissing, and looking at the sky. And then right at that moment, the Eiffel Tower started doing that sparkly thing that it does. And then I realized, holy crap, this place is romantic. Yeah, it's a romantic place. Like if you never think you know what romantic means, because I think for women, they know romance. For guys, it's like, I guess sometimes you try to be romantic for your women. But when it comes to just being a normal guy, you don't try to be romantic or look for what's romantic. But nevertheless, Paris is it. And on that first trip, I actually, Pont Neuf, which is what we're hovering over right now, that was another scene from Bourne Identity that I went looking for. And even took a picture of myself with the building here in the background, trying to mimic that scene from the Bourne Identity. I don't think the Samaritine, if you pronounce that correctly, I think is that sign still there, or is it gone now? I can't remember. I believe the department store is no longer there, right? I just can't remember if they took the sign down or if it is still there. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the ADX Parisian live stream. And today we're taking a look at a couple of things right now. We are looking at the wonderful Parisian freeware scenery. And if you want to grab this, just head over to the daily news page at airdailyx.net, and you will find a link for this. And after we just kind of look for all the little landmarks here in the scenery, we will then be heading over to Taxi2Gate's Charles de Gaulle. And should be a very interesting, happy Sunday for all of you. Hope you've been enjoying your weekend. Mine is actually just getting started. And again, apologies for not getting the stream up and running yesterday. We have another storm in LA. It seems like it never rains here until it actually does. Is that Gare du Nord here? As we're coming up right here. There's another place too. I did walking around inside Gare du Nord. A lot of famous films shot in the train station there. But yes, it is a wonderful Sunday in Paris, and this is a freeware scenery. And as you can see here, it is actually pretty remarkable. They've done quite a bit. And another thing, too, that I'll say about this is they have released a lot of updates, so they do keep this up to date. So for those of you who are afraid to get this installed in P3D in the latest version, you can rest assured it does work. And you do have a couple of options. And here we are approaching Sacré-Cœur. It's actually funny, my first trip up here, up on the hill, you know, everywhere in France you have these artists that do pictures. And so I thought, you know what, I'm going to have my picture done. You know, it was early in the morning that I arrived at the top of the hill here. And I thought, you know what, yeah, I'll have someone draw my picture. And the artist, I think he swindled me. I really do. You know, I told him, no funny pictures. I want a real picture. And I think he wanted €12 or something for the picture. And so I sat there for, you know, 20 minutes, whatever, while he did this picture. And then in the end, he turned it around, and it was me with a big-ass head, which perhaps maybe that was accurate. But it was still a caricature. And then he wanted his €12. And I said, I told you no funny pictures. But I wound up giving him the €12 anyway. I don't know where that picture is. I think I still have it around here somewhere. And this is what I hail as the most beautiful church in the world. This one. Sitting above Montmartre. With all of Paris in the background. You know, there are cities in the world where I can live and cities in the world where I really wouldn't live. If you guys saw the first announcement for Taxi2Gate Charles de Gaulle, I put in there a little video of when I was hanging around La Défense, which is where we're heading now. And there's a little scene in that video which was taken, I think, back in 2005 or something like that, where I'm like, one of these days I'm going to live here. But, you know, that's not really the truth. The truth is, I couldn't live in Paris. And I would not ever want to live in Paris. Cities that I want to live in are cities like New York or London. Those are the cities you live in. Paris is not the city you live in unless you're Parisian. And the reason why is because if you lived there, it would lose everything that makes it magical. You don't want to get used to it. And every time I visit Paris, it's like I'm there for the first time. I never get used to it. When I go to London, you know, it's like, yeah, this is London. It's, you know, this is my kind of town. Or the same with New York. But with Paris, it's like there's always this shock every time that I come out of the subway station and I see that classic architecture, and it's like I never quite get used to it. And that's not something that I would ever want to get used to. And if I lived there, I would get used to it. And that's not something that I ever want to experience. I always want it to maintain this sort of magical mystery to it. You know, I don't know quite how to say it, but that's the great thing about Paris. So that's why I would never live there. But I like to imagine that I'll be visiting Paris many, many more times in my life. By the way, one thing that is a pastime for me is standing atop Arc de Triomphe and watching the traffic surround this thing. If you've never stood atop this and just watched the traffic go around, it is the funniest thing in the world, watching traffic go around this thing. It is hilarious. Actually, I remember on my third trip to Paris, I had just come out of the tunnel from being atop, and I was on my way back down the Champs-Élysées. And there was these two American girls who hadn't figured out that there's a tunnel that runs below the traffic circle to get there. So they do have like these little barricades with chains and stuff to stop you from crossing the traffic, but they just didn't figure it out. So they had crossed the barricade, and they were holding hands, and I guess they thought this must be some Parisian pastime where this is how you're supposed to get there. And so just as they start running across the street, when they see a gap that they think is big enough, I grabbed them both. I grabbed them both by the shoulders and pulled them back onto the curb. And I'm like, what the hell are you two doing? And they're like, well, we're trying to get across. And I'm like, you two are going to kill yourselves. You know, there's a tunnel right over there. And they're like, oh my God, I didn't realize. I'm like, yeah, please go take the tunnel before the two of you die. Could you imagine someone trying to run across that thing? Someone in there saying it's just a large roundabout. That's true, but it's a large roundabout that at any given moment has 30 to 40 cars running along it. So it is no joke. No joke. And here we are now arriving at the business district here. So you can see these developers have really put a lot of effort into really recreating this scenery. And like I said, they continuously update it and add new buildings and add new landmarks. So at the time that you... Is that Tour EDF right there? By the time you see this... you know, there may have already been an update. There may be new buildings and new updates to this by the time you actually see this. So, like I said, they are continuously updating this, so I recommend it. I think it's a very nice update to the city, and it's free, so that's a price that you honestly just can't beat. So I will leave you to your own devices to experience the city on your own if you decide to download it. Again, you'll find that download link over at airdailyx.net on the daily news page at the time of this. And if you don't see it there, or if you come across this video on YouTube a year later, you can always just type in Paris Freeware in the search box, and it should get you to the download link. So now let's head over and see what Taxi2Gate has done. I see there's a lot of chatting there, and about 180 people watching live this morning. So, well, morning for me, evening for a lot of you. But if I haven't done it yet, we are in Paris, and welcome aboard. I'm going to check the chat here. And looks like Flight Sim Labs have released another update for the A320, fixing, I guess, there was a memory leak. Is that what everyone was complaining about, VAS issues and stuff? Perhaps that's it. All right, so now I've got to find the airport now. I know it's off over here somewhere. I do not have a map, so I don't want to lose my sense of direction. Let's climb up a little bit higher and see if we can find that airport. Where are you, Charles de Gaulle? He's hiding from us somewhere. Should be off over here somewhere. And also, by the way, you can also just see the blending as well. There's the city autogen at a distance. There's our airport. It's all the way over there. We're going in the wrong direction. So you can see all the autogen there. You can see it. It's almost pretty much seamless with OpenLC Europe, which is surrounding it here. So you can see there's a slight tint or shade to the buildings in the big area there. But it's a pretty large area. I keep forgetting that I need to remove that tower view. Now we have to wait for the scenery to load again. Someone else was asking me as well if did I get chase plane working properly. Yes, I did. As a matter of fact, I was showing that off in the last live stream I did, which included, not the last one, the one before last, where we were in Bali, but there is a limitation in terms of how far the camera can move away from the airplane. So that's the next update that I'm hoping will come out from chase plane. That ability where you can exit the aircraft and then you can leave it behind and probably travel the world and really destroy your VAS, but you can decouple from the aircraft. And I follow the A1 north to the airport. Which one of these city streets here is the A1? Let's see, I'm just scrolling through the chat here. See if there's any questions or anything from me here. Oh yeah, and Raymond is saying, for once DeAndre's on time. Yes, I really did try to be on time today. I know that a lot of people tend to get a little bit disappointed when I announce a start time and then I don't make it. And the A5 pilot is saying to the right of Hotel Pullman, where he visited back in 2013. I remember going into the Hotel Regina because that was in the Bourne Identity. That movie had just come out, I think, around my first time there. So I remember going in there and getting a little pamphlet so I could say I was in the Hotel Regina. Oh, the things I did in Paris. Wonderful times. Actually, one of the funniest things was, I live in LA. I was born here. And, Mexican restaurants are a dime a dozen, obviously. But you wouldn't really expect it in a place like Paris. And so we were out late one night. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning. And we were looking for, these are the people that I met while I was there. And we were looking for a place to eat. And we were over in I want to say it was the Latin Quarter, if I remember correctly. And the only thing that was open was this Mexican restaurant. And you walk in, and it's all traditional Mexican. It really is. It really is like a traditional looking Mexican restaurant, and the food was actually really good. And we were the only people in there. It was the four of us, and I don't remember their names. I didn't keep in touch with them, but it was myself, the British guy, the Canadian girl, and the girl from Seattle, and we were there. And we're the only ones in there, but they brought out the whole the guitar and everything, and they were doing the singing, and it was weird because we must have been in there for probably 2 hours. We'd finished our meal and we had a few drinks, and by the time we were done, because we basically brought them right up to closing, and when we stepped back out onto the streets of Paris, I almost had I don't know, I don't want to say I almost fainted, but I didn't know where I was for a minute there. It's because you don't expect to, when you're far away from home, you don't expect to come across something that, that reminds you so much of where you're from that, it's I don't know. It's I expected to walk out onto, Lincoln Boulevard here in Santa Monica or something. I don't know what I was expecting, but I walked out, we got out onto the street, and we're like, whoa, what is with these buildings? Where are we? So it took me a minute to realize where I was oh, wait, we're in Paris, so that was very interesting experience. And we're just coming up here on the coverage area for Taxi2Gate Charles de Gaulle, and I did load up the scenery last night just to make sure everything worked, but I didn't look at anything too closely because as these live streams go, I like to try my best to give you guys my first impression as well. So you can see now we are just crossing over the threshold of Open LC Europe and the airport boundary area. You can see there's the photo reel coming into view. And just making our way, as they would say, over the fence. Although I don't see a fence. And I do have the vehicle traffic turned off, but some of these roads here along the outskirts of the airport, there is vehicle traffic, but not on the roads that run under the airport. I didn't see prepared filling those areas up with cars. So that's something that maybe could come in an update if they decide to do that. Now, one of the things I'm going to point out right off the bat with this airport, and this was a big thing because when Caesar came to me and said that he usually comes to me, he's the head of Taxi2Gate, and he likes to ask me, what airport should I do next, and Paris was on the short list with a number of other airports, and so it was decided he would do Paris. And he said, so if I did Paris, what is something that you think I really need to do? What should be added? And I said, well, one of the things, or at least to me the most important thing that you should add, is make sure that you have all the taxi bridges there, because if you try to get away with photo reel, it really won't make your version that much better than the versions that are already available. So you have to make sure that not only do you do all the taxi bridges, but there's also a lot of sunken roads that surrounds the airport, and you've got to do all of them, because otherwise you don't really get the full immersion factor of this airport. So one of the things that I'm actually happy to report is that he's actually done that. And if he wasn't able to fully do it, then at least he's still simulated it where the roads are still sunken, and you're not just taxiing over photoreal. So at some point I will turn on the AI traffic so you can see them moving along, but I don't know how it's going to impact the stream with the broadcasting software running. But I will turn on. Actually, maybe I can turn on a little bit. I'm not sure if we're going to get stutters or not, but let's see if we can populate this a bit. Now, there's a good thing and a bad thing with all these taxi bridges, and so far the bad thing is that I have noticed that there are quite a few. Let's try 70%. There are some issues that I have noticed with some of the taxi bridges here. So you may be looking at a black screen while we load up some traffic here. Stand by. But you'll notice some areas there you have sort of these 3D models to kind of hide the terrain. But in some areas it doesn't seem to be matching up 100%. So in some areas it doesn't appear to be matching up 100%. Like right now, this is a perfect example. Oh yeah, it's getting stuttery already. I can see that. So I'll probably have to turn off the AI here in a minute. Oh, that's pretty tough. You can see this here. You've got this crevice here. So in quite a few areas, just looking around the airport, I have noticed that a lot of these taxi bridges and roads and car bridges, they're not really matching up very well in certain areas. So I don't know how that impacts taxiing over them physically, and I will do that. We'll jump in an airplane and actually taxi around. In some areas it's okay, in some areas not so much. Like this is one area here where you can see where they tried to put like a black wall to simulate a tunnel, but the terrain is bleeding through, so you're not fully getting that effect. And you can see here some of this is kind of just hovering instead of being attached to the terrain here. You can see that there. That's not touching at all. So it does that in quite a few areas. I'm just going to go to a higher elevation point here. I'm going to turn off the AI here in a moment. But I at least wanted you to be able to see the airport with a lot of AI surrounding it. Because in many cases, you're coming in here with your heavy, maybe your Flight Sim Labs Airbus or something like that, and you're not going to. We won't be able to sacrifice the VAS for AI, so we'll have to turn all this off. So at the very least, I wanted to show the scenery with AI parked at it. So another thing that I'll also point out is the AFCAT definitely needs some work in certain areas. I was noticing that there are a lot of aircraft that are like not sitting on top of each other, but they are definitely like, you'll get two gates. Like, okay, here's an example. I'm going to show you an example right now. You can also note here some of these bridges here are kind of off. Not the bridges themselves, but the little 3D objects that are supposed to support these bridges. You can see they're not connected fully. But you can see they really did go out of their way to put the roads in and to make sure that they are sunken beneath the airport, which is how it is in real life. Here's an example here. You have these two aircraft here, a 777 and an A340. And those two are holding hands. So there are some issues in the AFCAT there, and I've noticed that in a few areas where the AFCAT does need some work. So we're not looking at the details of the airport just yet. I just wanted to give you a nice overall perspective of the airfield with AI at it, because let's face it, none of us are ever going to have this much AI when we're flying in here. That's just never going to happen. So, and this is only AI at 70%, by the way. So you can see here just about every gate is already taken. almost. And from this point of view as well, we'll also take a look at the blending between the photoreal and FTX OpenLC Europe. Here you can see there's a couple of A380s that are overlapping down there. I don't know how that 777 is going to push back from that gate. So like I said, you can see there the AFCAT needs some work. A lot of planes there that are holding hands as they sit at the bar. Also notice there's some flickering textures in there as well. And all these airplanes back here are holding hands here. So far, the only two things that, and I just wanted to point those out now, and I guess kind of get that out of the way, is that the two areas that really need work is a lot of the objects surrounding these taxi bridges. You can see that taxi bridge there. It's got some flickering textures. The AI traffic does utilize all the bridges, though, so there's no issues with the AI traffic using them. We haven't taxied across any of them yet. I know when Munich was released, there was an issue with some of the taxi bridges where you'd get a bump and the plane would do this weird thing as you went over the bridge. There's a KLM 737 going over a bridge now. And they released an update that fixed all of that. So you can see there the AI aircraft there not having any issues going over the bridge. Where's my music? I gotta set the mood here. There we go. I'm setting the mood. We are in Paris. I need that accordion. So you can see there, this particular taxi bridge has a lot of stuttering textures there, but the AI, he went over it pretty effortlessly. So there's no trains or car traffic as well on those roads there when I had the vehicular traffic turned on. Is that what we call it? They don't seem to use those roads, so that's something that could probably make its way into a future update. So now that we've pretty much seen the airfield with AI, I know that it's getting kind of stuttery here with all these aircraft or these airplanes. I'm going to turn the AI back off, and then we're going to start getting into the details of the scenery. But at the very least, just wanted you to see what it looks like with all these airplanes. So a lot of airplanes holding hands here, so we're going to need an AFCAT guru to probably figure that out, although it's probably not necessary anyway, because I think if you're flying into this airport with any AI, you've probably got it to 5 or 10%, and the aircraft can space themselves out a lot better, perhaps. So you can see there, we get these stuttering textures at the edges of a lot of these taxi bridges here. So we're going to make our way back over to Terminal 1 and take a look there. Let me turn off the AI now, because watching a stream with all these flickering textures, it can be really annoying, I know. So we're just going to turn off the AI now. Before my helicopter stalls here. There we are. Actually, I didn't measure my frame rates while I had the AI on. I guess I should have. Frame rates right now are actually in the 60s, so one thing I can definitely say is this airport has been really, really optimized for good performance. So, of course, we won't know that until we jump into a heavy. Right now, we're just sitting in our little helicopter. But once we jump into a resource-intensive aircraft, we'll be able to get a much more detailed idea in terms of how much performance we're really going to get right now. And VAS usage isn't high either. In fact, VAS usage here is less than I show with Flight Tampa Amsterdam. So, and they've got internal modeling here, a lot of it, in fact. So let me zoom in here a little bit and take a look at the details. So now that we're getting down here a little bit closer to the ground, once again you can see you have this big seam between the 3D object and the plateau that they had to create in the scenery in order to get this effect. So your user experience may vary. But so far, these are just some of the issues that I'm having in my setup. And if you do use Orbix Vector, make sure you run it. Otherwise, the airport will be sunken under the terrain. I always forget to run that. And there's Terminal 1. There were a lot of thoughts about the colors of the airport. You know, some people were looking at the screenshots and saying, oh, it's too dark or it's too gray. And, you know, you can never really fully get a full idea of how things are going to look until you actually have it in your hands, which is, of course, the purpose of the live stream. If you don't have it in your hands yet, or on the fence trying to decide if you're going to buy it, this will help you do that while also seeing the scenery, how it would appear in your simulator without any heavy HDR effects or any photoshopping or anything like that. You can get a really good idea of what they look like. So let's take a look at some of these terminal piers here. You can see there you've got the internal modeling there. You can see the seats, the seating there, some shops and whatnot. You can see there, and that looks really good. I like that. As far as ground textures go, ground textures look very good. Not dark like it was, like as it appeared in some of the screenshots there. The colors look just fine. Of course, your opinion may differ. That's why you can see it live and determine for yourself. Also, a thing to note here is it actually looks like they made a new library for apron vehicles as well, vehicles that you would actually see in France, which is good. You know, when British Midland used to arrive in Terminal 1 when they were operating to Paris, and I remember on my first trip here, there was an Afrikia A320 that landed just before us and got on gate before we did. And it was interesting because when the plane got on the gate, there was like maybe 15 customs agents at the gate, and they did not allow, for all the arrivals for Afrikia, they did not allow people to make their own way down to immigration. They were doing all the immigration work right there on the jet bridge. So it probably took those poor folks probably 2 or 3 hours to get off that plane, because they were doing they wouldn't even let you off the jet bridge until they had already stamped your passport. And so we arrived on the gate next to them, and they were already hauling people away from that flight. So I thought that was really interesting. Sometimes here in the States they can do that as well, but usually that's because they're looking for someone specific. But I guess French customs are concerned that they might try to just shoot down the jet bridge and disappear. I'm not really sure, but they would not let anyone off the plane until all documents were checked. I thought that was interesting. Just looking here at these little piers here. So yeah, the ground textures here, the ground markings, everything looks very nicely done. Just looking at these seams though, a little bit hard on the eyes. But at least in this case, you don't have to worry about... oh, what's this here? Oh, you know what? I don't know if... Are you watching live? I'm looking at my text messages right now. I'm guessing baseball is watching live here. Let me see. I'm being told to increase my mesh resolution. Let's see here. I'm surprised, actually, I didn't think of that. Well, mesh is at 5, so let's just bring it all the way to 1. Let's see if that does it. I'm surprised I didn't even think about that. That's a very good point. Oh, I see Andrews is saying that as well. Yeah. Okay, everyone is saying adjust the mesh settings. You'd think I would have thought of that by now. Why do I have it set to 5? It was set to 5 because I remember because I would just keep it at 1. I have no problem keeping it at 1, but I think the reason why it was set to 5 was because there were certain Orbix airports that wouldn't work or show up properly unless it was at 5. Like I know one off the top of my head was Misha's Siku scenery, and I think that had to be at 5. If it was anything greater than 5, it still wouldn't show up right. So I don't know if that's been corrected. But yep, that did it. Thank you guys. Baseball and Amos and the rest of you. Yep, that was what it was. So I needed to. So right now the mesh resolution is now at 1, and it looks like, at least in this area, that's been corrected. So as we continue to work our way around, I'll look at some of the other areas in more detail to see if all that's been corrected. You can still see there's still some stutters and still some seams there, though, even at 1. I should have probably read the manual to see what they recommend. Maybe they don't recommend 1, but that certainly made a big difference. So, yes, even I lose common sense sometimes. So that's why I rely on all of you. So here we are, just making our way completely around Terminal 1. And you can see here all of the little satellite buildings here are all completely modeled, and there you go. I guess so that we're thorough, I guess we should cover this whole part of the airport. So let's make our way over to the cargo area. I believe that's where the A380 hangar is, as well as the FedEx cargo area as well. And we're just going to pass over some more taxi bridges on our way over. There's still some weird artifacts going on there. Oh, maybe not. You know, Renee, I was looking at your comments that you had written earlier on the blog as well as here, and you're really looking for comment in terms of the accuracy of the airport. My opinion on that is, if you don't know the difference, does it matter? You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those, if a tree falls in the middle of the forest, is anyone really, and no one's around, does it make a sound, sort of thing? And that's kind of the case with this. It's like, how much accuracy are you really looking for? I mean, you know, like, what are you fearful of that isn't accurate based on what you're seeing already that would determine that you wouldn't buy the scenery? Because I'll be honest with you, no scenery is 100% accurate, you know. Flight Beam with Amir, I know that he will not do an airport unless he can get his feet on the ground and take pictures, which is why Flight Beam Frankfurt never happened. So I know that they're really staunch with that. But even then, I still think that there is only so much accuracy you can get. You know, there are always going to be areas that you're not going to be able to get access to. Or details that are too finite to put in a scenery project that you would have to leave out. You know, the whole feature creep scenario. So no airport is always going to be 100% accurate, but I think if you can get it to 90% or above, that should be good enough. And I think a simple trip to Google Earth will, I think, give you a good enough idea that it's certainly more than accurate enough. I mean, I'm not sure how much more accuracy I would need. I think it's more than accurate enough. So I just thought that was interesting, because it's like, okay, if I'm looking at Fly Tampa Amsterdam, and if I'm asking you know, folks who are Dutch, you know, can you tell me if it's 100% accurate? And if it's not, then I'm not going to buy it. And it's like, well, if I need to ask someone, and if I don't know, then it probably doesn't matter anyway. You know, unless I can go on Google Earth and actually see that, okay, well, something's way off. This taxiway is way too far over than where it should be, or, you know, there's a whole building in the scenery or on Google Earth that isn't in the scenery. You know, maybe those are things that can be added at some point, but for the most part, it's really rare in a scenery like this that it would be lacking that far that it should determine not purchasing it, I guess. But as I said before, I mean, you know, there are other options available, and Simwings did mention that they will come back and, I guess, update. I'm not sure if they're talking about an update or if they're going to do it from scratch, but looking at Simwings' track record, It. If they started yesterday, I wouldn't be looking for it for a couple years. So it could be a long wait, and until then, I guess to hold you over, you would have the old versions from what 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago. If you would find that they would be better than this. So far, my first impressions are this is the best Charles de Gaulle we've ever had. Now, there are a lot of things that I would typically point out in smaller sceneries. For example, like parking lots, for example. The parking lots in this whole airport pretty much suck. But one of the things that I always point out when it comes to mega airports is I tend to give them a little bit of a break on that because detailed parking lots and sceneries that this big, I mean, that's when you're really, really starting to push it. So, I mean, in cases like this is good enough. You know, I wouldn't harp on something like this. What's important, though, is that you get all the buildings. And this is okay. So if we were looking at a much smaller scenery and we were looking at parking lots like this, I'd be tearing a developer apart because it's like, okay, wait a minute now. This is a much smaller scenery. But in cases like this, you do have to decide, you know, and doing an airport like Charles de Gaulle, this is like 5 airports in one. Each terminal is like its own airport. So, you know, at some point you have to call it when it comes to how much features you're going to put in. So I tend to get a little bit lenient on that. But one area that I will not get lenient on regardless of the size of the airport, and that is fences. And there are no fences anywhere here. And the reason why I like to think that fences are a big deal, it's not like as if there's some digital P3D terrorists that are going to go running onto the airfield or anything like that, obviously. But when you're in the flight deck and you're at the gate and you're in an area like this, which is a perfect example, you still want to get the feeling that you're boxed in the airport. You know, you don't want to just look out and just see neighborhoods. You know what I mean? You want to see something separating you from what's on the outside of the airfield. And so that's why I think fences are a big deal. So you can see here that he's got them, but they're not consistent throughout the airport. And just looking at some of the textures here for the cargo buildings, looks perfectly fine. Developers tend to not spend too much time going into perfect detail because they're just warehouses. And that's pretty much a typical across the board, more or less. Here we have the catering buildings and logistics buildings here in the center, as well as the hotels. As we start to make our way back over a bit. And Renee is saying that many felt Dota and Munich were rushed and lacked special attention that made it feel authentic. Well, I think with Munich, a lot of areas... you know what? This is what I'm going to say. Because you're saying that they were rushed and made it feel... lacked special attention that made it feel authentic. I think at the end of the day, it comes down to your feelings. I mean, if you felt that those airports didn't feel authentic, then you have to think about what is it that you're basing it on. Have you been to those airports? And what does those airports have in real life that the scenery doesn't have? What is something that other developers do that makes it feel more authentic that Taxi2Gate didn't do? So I think you have to get down there and try to narrow down specifically what you feel is not making something feel authentic. I mean, Munich feels very much authentic enough for me. I've never been there. So it's as authentic as any other scenery that was ever developed for it, with the exception of like the coloration. I know the colors were kind of a big deal with that scenery. Now, I've been to Paris many times. I've been to Charles de Gaulle many times. So in my own personal opinion, I'm not a Parisian, but I can definitely say that it looks and feels as authentic as it's been since I've been here. Now, granted, I'm flying over it and I'm not on the ground with the aircraft yet, but this is how it looks in real life. This is certainly how I remember it. And I think for many of us, that's really what we're going for is, you know, does it give a realistic enough representation to give us the feeling of, you know, when we've been there, when we've seen it. And for those that have never been here, really, you know, it, again, like I said, you can match it with Google Earth and get a good enough idea that, okay, yeah, they've got it right for the majority of it. So this is an interesting helipad thing going on here. It's just like an H. So right now we're just kind of taking a look at the hotels and office buildings and sort of the logistical areas that surround the airport before we make our way back over to the terminals. And like I said, an airport like Charles de Gaulle, this really is, it's like doing multiple airports because there are so many terminals, and pretty much like Amsterdam, it's all spread out. The difference between this and Amsterdam, though, is Amsterdam is really, it's all kind of incorporated in one massive area, whereas, you know, here the terminals are all kind of spread out and spread apart. So let's get back down on our knees here and take a look at the details. And it's interesting because every time that I have left Paris, I was always en route to Zurich for some reason. And so if I'm not sure if this is the same terminal that Swiss uses now, but back then this was the terminal that Swiss used. So leaving Paris, always entering in Terminal 1 and always leaving from this terminal. And you can see here, I mean, as far as the modeling, they got it right on the modeling here. Textures could be a little bit better maybe, but again, that could come down to optimization. You know, when I think back to the days of FS9, man, you could get away with a lot. You could have 100% AI. You could get away with so much in FS9 that we can't get away with anymore. So here, the textures here are you know, like the little bit of the green there. It's not ultra flight beamy, crispy-esque type textures, but it's not something that I would harp on because a lot of probably what went into this airport was probably trying to determine how strong the resolution would probably be in a lot of different areas, and trying to determine you know, how strong the texture should be in order to ensure performance, especially things like VAS usage, especially in an airport that's this big. So I won't really complain on the textures. I mean, again, the bottom line for me comes down to how accurate does it look. And so far, it seems to me that they've nailed the accuracy of it. But good point, Renee. Let's ask the Parisians. For those of you who, or maybe you're from Paris, maybe you're not, maybe you spend a lot of time traveling through this airport, but just looking at the chat, there's a little over 180 people watching right now. What would you say for those who have been here and know this airport well? How would you determine the accuracy of things so far based on what you've seen in the live stream? There's some areas here. You can see there's glass there. You can see the reflections. But on approach there, it was almost like you couldn't see the glass. It's almost a little too transparent. Like maybe the glass could have been darkened just a little bit. If you don't see the reflections, it's like you don't actually see the glass textures. You can see it there a little bit, kind of reflecting. So far, performance looks really good. We're going to continue working our way along here, because I can't wait to see this from the VC. That's where you really get an idea of how things look, is when you get it from that that virtual flight deck or cockpit perspective. A lot of people try to be politically correct these days and avoid saying cockpit, but until we start calling it the FD and we keep calling it the VC, I guess that'll be the case. Now in this area, this is one area where a lot of the glass seems to kind of disappear on the walkways here. The way Simwings did this is they basically just did a photoreal type simulated glass look. On the terminal itself, it actually looks really good, but through these jet bridges here, or these walkways connecting the jet bridges here, These gangways, you can see it looks like there's almost no glass. It's there, but only from a certain eye point where you can see the reflection. But in a lot of cases, it looks like the glass isn't there, even though it is. So maybe a darker tint on the glass would have made that a little bit easier to see, perhaps. Had to restart my music. I'm setting the mood here. So no, I didn't demo the jetways yet. We're going to do that as soon as we jump on our aircraft. Right now, we're just taking a look at the details. Air Daily X style with the helicopter. But yes, the next step will be to test out the jetways and make sure everything works. That was done quite nicely here. And again, you can even see details there, even the signs, the airport gate signage there. You can even read them from outside the terminal here. Indeed, the top 3 most difficult airports in the whole of Flight Simulator, without a doubt, JFK, Amsterdam, and Charles de Gaulle. Those would probably be the top 3. Probably followed by London, which is like in a constant state of development right now. But in terms of airport complexity, those would probably be the top 3. And actually, I can tell you that other developers are eyeballing JFK again, so that'll be interesting. So here you get the nice reflection on the glass. And I'm actually looking forward to the night lighting as well, which we will move into once we shift into our aircraft. And now over to the new terminal. And last time I was in Paris, all of this actually hadn't been built yet. So this is the newest part of the airport. Interesting here, the jet bridge glass is polarized. They went with a different type of jet bridge model here. Now, I didn't read if the upper jet bridge works or not. And I don't think I have the freeware project Airbus A380 installed to even test that. I don't even know. Can someone just remind me if was the A380 upper deck jet bridge supposed to be or meant to be working here? I can't remember, because I don't think I have an A380. Still has some stuttering textures here on the taxi bridges. Can use a little bit of work. So yeah, in certain key areas, an update is definitely needed here. I do still see some stuttering textures. And Renee says the new terminals, square boxes, looks like they lost inspiration. You know, that's actually interesting, because that's the interesting thing. Yeah, the old Terminal 1, which is really kind of rounded, and the other terminals, yeah, and then you get to the newest, and yeah, they've kind of gone to sort of the square box. But I think with all the roundness going on, maybe the square kind of gives that contrast. So maybe in certain cases, as far as from an artistic perspective, it gives contrast to the roundness of all the other terminals. And take a look at some of the interior modeling. They've even look at that. They've got the wood, that wood grain there on the walls there in the Coke machine. One thing I can definitely say about this airport, though, is it has a lot of character, which is something that you would expect from a place like Paris. A lot of character. And again, something that I would like to see in a future update is to be able to see the animated traffic in trains. I think here this would have to be probably custom, though. That would probably have to be custom. One of the things that I do miss about AES... Ooh, we got some more. What's going on with that bridge? Hang on, let me back up here a second. There's something going on with this bridge here. Yeah, so some of these bridges, there is like a texture flickering thing going on there. Right there along the seam. But one of the things I do miss about AES is the AES light, having traffic moving along the airfield that would stop for your aircraft when you needed to cross. I always found that to be very realistic. And especially the way Oliver did the cars and the trains and stuff like that. But he only did that for products released directly for Aerosoft. So we still wouldn't see that here. So as far as SimWings goes, I think it's going to be really interesting to see what they're going to do with Paris now. Now that the Taxi2Gate version is out, I think there's a lot that's going to, that they're going to have to do differently and do better. The current version doesn't really include all the taxi bridges and sort of those sunken roads and stuff that are all around the airport. And I just don't see SimWings going through the trouble of doing that. I like to think that they would if they're going to do this airport again from scratch, but I don't know. I don't know if I see them doing all that. So I think that part would be interesting. SimWings doesn't seem to be much of a fan of doing internal modeling. So I don't know if we will... Oh, there's some more stuttering textures there on the bridges. There it is. So definitely could use an update for that. So they may not go out of their way to do that. I know that there's still a percentage of people who are not interested in or much of a fan of internal modeling. So for those people, maybe it'll be fine. But it's something that has become the new official norm among scenery developers. So it'll be interesting to see what they do differently in those cases. And I just don't see them doing it, to be honest. So just looking to tap the audience, looks like there's 200 people down there right now. What is the overall census? I'm not sure if I'm getting a census on the overall opinions thus far. Now this next terminal I think is probably my favorite one in the scenery thus far. And this is one that I think Taxi2Gate did really well. The way the glass and everything was done here, and it kind of reminds me of like Narita, almost in a sense. And I think if we eventually, if someone, not Narita, I'm sorry, Osaka. Whoo, getting my airports confused here. If someone does a new Osaka at some point, I can imagine it looking something similar to this. In fact, I can tell you for a fact someone is doing Osaka. I just can't talk about it. But very nice. You've got the nice reflections on the glass here, and you can see the internal. And this is how it should look. This is, I think, how you would see it in real life. This was the terminal that crashed, right? I believe it was this one. The structural engineers that were hired to design this terminal, they didn't get it right. And I remember this terminal having a lot of being plagued with issues, and it was closed for a long period of time because of the structural integrity of the terminal, and a large part of it just like caved in. I think that was like back in the early 2000s. So whatever the case was, looks like they got it worked out. I see there's some questions there in the chat. Let me put this down just for a second and try to catch up with you guys really quickly, see if there's anything interesting, and get an overall senses of the overall opinions of the scenery thus far. let's see here. Sim Super 80 is saying he's always wondered why textures outside the main apron areas were blurry, where the actual like tarmac textures are more crisp. I think my guess would be there's a sense among developers that it's, you know, the areas that are most important to get the detail are those areas. That's why I always make a big deal about parking lots as well, because again, you'll get to the land side of the airport and then the quality just tapers off dramatically. But that's actually a really good question, and not every developer does that. I mean, if you look at Flight Tampa and Flightbeam, they have a tendency to keep their textures crisp throughout. So I think it depends on the individual developer and how they choose to do it. Block Island from Alex Goff is a good example where throughout the airport and apron area, all the textures are really nice and crisp and detailed. So I think it just comes down to the developer in terms of how much time they have. And with an airport of this size, crisper textures means doing a lot more work. And so they tend to keep that to areas that are more important. That would be my guess answer to your question. What is this? Oh, so Renee says AES Lite has been updated to support P3D. Really? I didn't know that. So if you're telling me that if I go on the approach to Gibraltar that the traffic is going to be crossing the runway now, and that the traffic will stop when my plane lands, and the little the gate arms will raise up and stop the cars from crossing the runway? Really? I didn't know that. So I'll have to check that out. A5 Pilot is saying the terminals S3 and S4 actually have gorgeous interiors, architecturally speaking. I do. I like the architecture of the different terminals at Charles de Gaulle. Ooh, a lot of chats there. Just looking to see if there's any questions. I know sometimes some folks address me, and I just want to make sure I'm not ignoring anyone here. Oh, and a query of doing a live stream of IDS Manchester. Yeah, I'm thinking of planning a live stream to compare both the UK 2000 and Aerosoft version. But what I think I would like to do in that live stream between the two Manchesters is actually open that up. That exactly does not happen, so it's not AES Lite technology used. Oh, so the scenery itself has to be updated as well. I guess that makes sense. And Jetstarter says you had issues with MCO bridges? I don't remember having any issues with that. Someone's saying they need a KPVD scenery. Yeah, that's on the way too. PVD, actually the same guy doing PDX is going to do PVD, so that's going to be great. All right, so anyway, yeah, if AES Lite's been updated, I don't know, I guess that'd be interesting. Oh, that's weird. There's a bleeding texture here. You guys see that on that jet bridge over there? Off to the left. There's like a bleeding texture there, huh? So with this terminal, yeah, I think this one was done really nicely. I'm really impressed with that, the way that was done. So far, though, I mean, as far as performance goes, the performance is really smooth, and hopefully you can see that watching this live. I know everyone has different bandwidth and internet connections, so it might be maybe sturdy for some people, but it's really smooth here on my end, that's for sure. And that's drop this down a little bit here. There we go. So lots of glass, and you can really clearly see inside the terminals there, which is really good. Now this building here, I don't know what this is. I don't remember this building. So I'm not sure if this is new or what. This brown and black building, whatever this is, that's just sort of protruding out here. I don't remember this. I'm not sure what that is. When I first saw it, I thought, wait, are there textures not loading? But no, this is there. I just don't know what that is. It's kind of abrupt. But I think it's new, right? I don't think that's been there. I don't think that was always there. I feel like that's a new building that they threw in there. Maybe it's a lounge or something like that, perhaps. And Andres, yes, your thoughts mirror my own. Charles de Gaulle looks like, exactly as you say, like someone just threw a bunch of different airports together and put them on the same airfield. That's exactly what it looks like. But that is what gives this airport so much character. And so the question to be asked is whether or not Taxi2Gate has captured the character of Charles de Gaulle. So I've been asking the crowd here, 206 people, what your opinions are so far. I'm not really saying I like it, I don't like it, here's what I like, here's what I don't like. Just trying to get some ideas, the overall senses of what people are thinking right now. And so again, you know, this area here, like I said, was really important. And this is what I told him. I said, you know, if you're going to do Paris, you've got to get all these, like, you know, all these little sunken areas where all these roads are in the airport. Because Simwings, they just threw up some photoreal, and the photoreal looks weird because you're just kind of taxiing toward around something that is like, doesn't quite look right. And here, when you're taxiing by, you want to be able to see there's like a gorge there, you know, and there's roads. So in this case, you know, they've done it. There's something that's kind of protruding there, isn't there? I'm not sure what's going on there. Additionally, the textures on this bridge, too, it looks like the ground textures are bleeding through here. Just noticing that. And again, looking down there, you can see there the roads are all there. And so this stuff was stuff that I thought was really important. So from the flight deck perspective, you can really see and get that real feeling that, you know, you're elevated above these roads that are down here. And that was important. So I'm glad to see that they've done that. Some areas still not completely matching up. So all things considered, oh, and this is actually kind of hanging over here a little bit, this road here. Yeah, that road is kind of hanging over. So the scenery definitely needs an update. I think we've established that. So there are definitely a few areas here where the scenery definitely needs an update. But overall, I'd say it looks really good. Now, I did see some complaints about not having, I think, a winter texture. Because it doesn't snow in Paris every year, right? I mean, sometimes Paris gets really, really cold winters, and yeah, it snows like hell. But sometimes I think Paris really, it's like kind of like London, where you get snowflakes, but not enough snow to turn the whole ground white. Is that an accurate assessment? So I don't know if they've added winter textures. I think someone said that they didn't, so I think that's one of the things we'll check and see. But I don't think so. And Sim Super 80 is saying that some of the tunnels look a little too dark. You know what, though? I think it's fine. I mean, the bottom line is when you're in the flight deck, you're probably not paying all that much attention to it anyway. So, you know, they probably could have put maybe a picture there of like a car tunnel That probably would have made it look a little bit better, perhaps, instead of just black. But in this case, I'm just glad it was done at all, and that it's not just flat. So I'll take that. But yeah, you're right. A lot of it does look black. But like I said, it may not be that noticeable because right now we're flying over it in a helicopter, which is something that none of you are ever going to do. You're going to be in your aircraft. And I think that's the most important part. I'm sure a lot of you will be whipping out your FS Labs Concorde to have a lot of memorable flights between here and JFK. The lovely Concorde. So let's, let's take a look at the night lighting and let's grab an airplane and taxi around a little bit here. I want to see if I can get away with my quick night lighting here if I can. Let's see. This doesn't always work. Oh, okay, it worked. Oh, look at that. I didn't know this was lit up in red, white, and blue at night. Really? I did not know that. I've never seen this lit at night before, so I didn't even know that that was lit that way. How did I not know that over the years? I don't know. I shouldn't say red, white, and blue. It makes it sound American, but... Blue, white, and red, perhaps. I didn't know that was lit that way at night, though. That's pretty nice. So let's get on the ground. Actually, one more thing before we grab our airplane. Let's just take a look at the runway approach lighting here at distance 2, because that's always a big thing that people have is custom lighting and approach lights and so forth. So let's just take a quick look at that if we can. Oh, you guys talking about the Concorde over on the Intrepid? Yeah. You know, it's weird, that whole Intrepid. Number one, I think it's stupid that they built that big thing on the flight deck of the Intrepid to put the space shuttle in it. I thought that just looks stupid. They could have kept all the aircraft. I mean, I know all those planes are exposed to the elements up there, but it just looks so stupid having that big pavilion on the edge of that thing. I felt like for the space shuttle, if they wanted to keep it, because they wanted to keep it inside, obviously you want to protect the space shuttle, but also you want people to pay to see it. So you don't want people to just be able to see the space shuttle from the outside, and that's how all the museums are doing it, really. You really have to get past a few doors to really get in and see it. So, but I felt like that should have been, they should have built that thing on the dock instead of up on there like the way that they did. But yeah, but you know what, I mean, as far as sitting out in the elements go, airplanes always sit out in the elements, so I think as long as they keep painting it and keep it looking fresh and new, I think it's okay. So there's our approach lights there, so you can see those are all done well. No complaints there. And let's taxi around. We're just going to put this helicopter down here. Come on. Maybe I can turn the AI up just a little bit, perhaps, just to get an idea of what the scenery looks like with some airplanes around. I hate when the scenery looks so desolate and there's nothing else here. Okay, that was a hard landing, wasn't it? Okay, your screen might go blank for just a moment while we switch into an aircraft, and I actually have to activate Track IR, don't I, so I can look around. And FS Syndicate is saying, which airport is this? Who made it? I want it. It looks great. Wow, you are out of the loop, man. Somebody doesn't follow Air Daily X, huh? All right, FS Syndicate, this is for you. That's for Mr. Syndicate there. There's a link for you, and you'll never be out of the loop on news ever again. But the airport is Charles de Gaulle from Taxi2Gate. What are you laughing at? What's so funny? Huh? Who? Ban him? Oh, because he doesn't follow the website. I know, right? The nerve. My wife says I should ban you. Let's see. Oh, Jetstarter says, I'm spoiled by Linate. Look at that. I can say it properly now because someone finally taught me how to say that. The night lighting. Yeah, Jetstream did one hell of a job on that. I'm telling you, Jetstream. Keep your eyes on Jetstream. Keep your eyes on Jetstream. You know, I don't know why I didn't get an Air France airplane. I don't know why I didn't download an Air France airplane. That's terrible. So we're going to download her sister. Or install her sister here. I should have gotten an Air France airplane for this stream. And Jason Armstrong is asking, how does the default AFCAT look? This will be uploaded to YouTube immediately following the stream. So you can actually go on YouTube and actually see the beginning of the stream. We actually turned on the AI. And the AFCAT needs some work, to say the least. The AFCAT does need a little bit of work here. I might turn on AI if I can just get it up to 10%. There's a problem with P3D where if I turn it up 3%, it just goes to 100%. It doesn't seem to care about percentages. So we'll see here. And SimSuper80, if you're asking me if I've used Oculus Rift with Fly Inside, yes, I have both. And you must have Fly Inside if you're going to use Prepared with Oculus Rift, or FSX for that matter. Let's see here. Okay, I'm going to try to turn AI up a little bit. Let's see. All right, no promises. That's 15%. Hopefully it doesn't go up to 100% and kill me. And then I need to start Track IR here. All right, so, frames per second right now is 1920. 19 and 20, literally. It's jumping between 19 and 20 FPS. Wow. So that took a dive once we jumped, but I did add in the AI, so let's see how smooth it's going to be. If it's not going to be very smooth, then I'll probably have to chuck the AI right back out. Let me see, I need Trek IR. And there we have our lovely Parisian accordion playing in the background there, setting the mood for today's stream. And Andreas, is it Andreas or Andreas says, do I actually have time to fly any of these airports I review? I seem to be very busy. You know, the truth is, no, not really. I know that's kind of sad, but I don't fly anywhere as much as I used to before Air Daily X. So a lot of my flying tends to be Orbix type stuff, flying stuff with propellers on it and hopping between small airports like Pacific Northwest and stuff, and that's because that's what my time really allows. I mean, the last two major flights that I've done was with the TFDI 717. I flew from Orbix Broome to Bali, which was a nice 2-hour flight. And I did a flight from Simwings Heathrow to Fly Tampa Amsterdam, and that was right after Fly Tampa Amsterdam was released. So those are the last two IFR flying flights that I did, and aside from that, it's all small stuff because that's all I have time for. So, in answer to your question, no, I have hard drives full of airports. Is P3D not connected? Oh, it needs Chase Plane running. That's right, Chase Plane needs to be running for Trek IR. Okay, let me do that. So yes, all these airports that I have from around the world that developers send me, I don't really get to enjoy them all that much on my free time. Partially because there's so many to choose from, I can never make up my mind, but the other half is just having free time and ooh, look at that. Whew, the VAS button is buzzing in chase plane. Yikes. Okay, well, let's hope for the best, huh? The VAS thing is really... there. I don't know. Let me switch screens here so you guys can see that. I've never seen chase plane do this before, but this is like a warning, isn't it? Look at this. You guys see that? So chase plane is like... it is like warning. You see that red flashy light there? That's interesting. Okay. Anyway, let's get back to this. Well, I hope not. I might have to turn off the AI. I feel like the AI is probably going to kill me here. Frame rates are... now with chase plane running, frames have dropped to 17. Ooh, you know what? Let me turn off the AI. As much as I'd love to have it, I just... while I'm streaming, I think we're just pushing our luck. I'm going to bump that down. Oh, look at that. Okay, frames have jumped to 43. Nice. Okay, that was a big jump. So, I think AI here is probably not... is going to be like a no-go. I'm still getting that VAS, but I've gotten more VAS now, so that's good. Okay, let's get back into business here. What am I looking at? Okay. I'm just so close to the damn glare shield here. The panel. Back off here a little bit. Oh, where's my Xbox controller? Ah. There we go. That's a little bit better. I'm like, I can't see anything here. Alright, there we go. And maybe for effect's sake, let me turn up chase plane a little bit so we can get that. So if you're not aware yet, chase plane does work with Track IR now. And it works really well, actually. Where is this under? How do I adjust this? Oh, ground. There we go. When we taxi around, I want to be able to kind of get that effect of taxiing around. And let me make your screen go black one more time so that I can start FSUI PC. There we are. Okay, so let's taxi around here. And now take a look at the airport for real. So we'll go ahead and start at night, since we're already under the night lighting here. And then we will... where's the Xbox? Why did I put that back on the floor? And then we'll change it to daytime afterwards so we can see sort of the daytime textures here as well. So frames right now, wow, this is really optimized. I'm getting 40 frames per second right now. There's chase plane there, giving us a nice little head shake, little camera shake. So airport night lighting looks very good. It doesn't look not as good as Jetstream, or Flight Tampa, but it's very good nonetheless. And of course, we're going to be looking for some taxi bridges to crawl over. And by the way, I got to give a shout out to Ben and Airline2Sim. If you haven't taken a look at your, if you haven't taken the 777 course yet, you got to do it. I know many of you are like, I know how to fly the 777. I don't need any training course, but it really is a fantastic program. I am enjoying it. So make sure you check that out. Even if you know it all, you can always learn something new. That's what I say. And they cover a lot of stuff with Captain Ashcroft that you're not going to see a lot of these YouTubers cover, because they do not know it as well as an actual 777 captain. So no matter how good you are, unless you hold an instrument rating for a 777, you do not know it as well as a captain does. But you can get pretty damn close. And that's what Airline2Sim does. So definitely make sure you check that out if you haven't yet. And that's the course that I'm in the process of taking now. And one of the things that they get into is they teach you actually how to properly taxi this aircraft and turn corners with it. So that's another big thing too. You get to go to ground school with this baby. All right, so we're just coming over our first taxi bridge here. Any bumping? Although it's like, can you tell the difference between a bump and the track IR camera movement? But no, that's pretty smooth. So now that we're in the flight deck, it looks really good now, because I mean, now we're seeing it the way we should be seeing it, which is from this particular point of view. And from here it looks really good. This is really what we're looking for, is from this point of view. It's always hard. It's a completely different perspective and eye point when you're hovering around in a helicopter, but once you get down into this perspective, now you're really seeing it. So where's Renee? Is Renee in there? Who was it who's still on the fence? Are we still on the fence here? I like how when I hit the brakes you get that shake. Look at that as I hit the brakes. That makes it look pretty real, doesn't it? Like it, pretty immersive there. Alright, so we're going to be testing a lot of different jet bridges as we make our way across here. So now is as good a time as any to start. So let's go ahead and pull up to a gate and check out SOTI. I'm going to go to the external view because I am really bad with this. And like I said, my apologies to... Drop my microphone. Hang on. Whoa. Oh, are we still there? Testing. 1, 2. Whoa, somebody needs to reset their shaders, huh? Whoops. That looks terrible. Every time I download something new or install something new in P3D, oops, what am I doing? Why am I doing that? I find that I need to reset my shaders, otherwise crazy stuff like this happens. So it's time to reset those shaders again. So that's going to look like crap. That's okay. I'm not going to worry about it right now. We just want to test the jet bridges, and then we'll get back to the virtual cockpit mode here. So I'm not sure how much further I need to pull up here. I need to get to the other side of the airplane. One thing about chase plane is whenever I set the speed to move the camera, for some reason it always defaults, and I hate that because it goes too slow, and sometimes I need to move fast. So I'm not sure why that defaults the way it does. There we go. That's better. Okay, let's get this on the line here. I should pause track IR because there's too much head movement here. Oh shit, I reset it. Hang on. I didn't mean to do that. Okay, pause. Let's go back outside. There we go. So sorry about the airplane here. I've got to reset my shaders. That looks terrible. Alright, so let's just stop here. We'll hit the parking brake. And let's see, let's pull up the sim-object display engine, which is one of these buttons. Uh-oh. Oh, there it is. Alright, I don't know if you guys can see that. You should be able to see the sim-object display engine 1.4.1. I think that's the latest, right? Alright, so we're going to select stand. I actually don't even know what gate this is. Is there a gate number somewhere on the ground, or where is it? Does anyone know what gate this is? You think it'd be written somewhere. Damn, I don't even know what gate I'm at to even turn this thing on. Shouldn't it say what gate I'm at somewhere? Oh, 142 was released. Well, so far it seems to be recognizing it. I just don't know what gate this is. All right, well, I don't know. I don't see anyone helping me out in the chat. I'm thinking someone who really knows this airport can tell me what gate I'm at, but I have no clue what gate this is. I don't see a gate number anywhere. Maybe there's a gate number inside the terminal. Maybe that'll help. No, I don't see any gate numbers. There are gate numbers in the other building, but not this one. So I guess I'm not activating the jet bridge over up here. Damn, are there no gates anywhere? How do you know what gate that you're pulling up to? I mean, I'm sure you'd have your charts for those of you who are actually intelligent, but I have no idea. Amos says it's France. There's no gate numbers and no flight attendants. It's video says what? It says which gate it is where you turn in. Look at the taxi line. I thought I did, but I didn't see it. Okay, let's see. Oh, W5? Oh wow, that's dark. It's nighttime, so I didn't really see that. Yeah, so this says W5. Okay, so let's click next. Thank you for that. Next. Next. W. Okay, there's a W. And 5. Thank you. There we go. W5. Alright, and then we'll dock Jetway 1 at gate W5. Dock to door 1 left. Let's move this out of the way. Wow, I hate that this airplane looks this way. I didn't realize I needed to reset my shaders again. That looks really terrible for the stream here. That looks horrible. Sorry about that. I didn't know that I needed to do that once again. Oh, the jet bridge animation is really good. That's actually not bad. That was some nice jet bridge animation there. Not bad at all. So we've got our first jetway there. That worked. All right, let's go ahead and undock the jetway. Look at that animation one more time. This was actually really nicely done. You can see there the wheels turn. The wheels are actually rotating too, if you can see that. And it's lowering and moving into position. Look at that. So I'm impressed with that. That's the best probably SODI jetway movement I have seen. So that was nicely done. I'm happy with that. We're gonna have to go somewhere where there's dual jetways, but let's continue taxiing around. Let's go back inside. So are you guys pretty happy with that, more or less? Okay. We'll just move this SODI window off here out of the way, and let's move up and head over to another terminal. I should probably turn off the parking, disengage a parking brake, huh? So just looking at that terminal there, this is, you know what, now that I'm here on the flight deck, I am much more impressed now than I was in the helicopter. I mean, I'm happy with what I see, but from this perspective, I'm even much more impressed. It looks even better from here. I like the way that they lit that. So we're going to just make our own taxiway here as we... basically what we do is at Air Daily X, we call over to the airport and we tell them, listen, we're gonna do a survey for the airport. It's going to be a live stream, so I'm going to need all air traffic moved out of the airport. I'm commandeering the entire airport. I don't care if people have places they need to be. We're shutting down the entire airport for a live stream because 200 people want to see it. So I get the thousands of people that fly in every day. I've got these 200 people. So you guys are going to have to get rid of all the planes, shut down the airport, and, you know, when we're done, you know, and you can reopen the airport once we're done. And so the French were very accommodating, and they said, well, you know, it's the best news website out there, so we'll do it for you. Yeah, right. They'll do it for just about everybody else. Okay, so here it is. Oh, and look at the lighting too underneath there too. Was also nicely done. I'm not on the taxi center line here, but just so we can take a look as we move around here. The lighting underneath there, and the Terminal 1 logo lit up too, nicely. Alright, time for another taxi bridge. That actually looks pretty good. I just wish there were animated car traffic. I mean, I don't know. Would we use it if it were using these roads? I don't know. But that's the only thing that's missing. Look at that Terminal 1. That's pretty damn good looking to me. Nice. Very lovely. I'm all in the grass and shit. Alright, let's head over to the next terminal now. Man, I remember back using the Simwings version in FS9. Man, I had this baby rocked with AI. But who knows, you know? It looks like P3D will be nearing 64, and maybe we'll start to be able to get away with a lot more. We'll see. Of course, when 64 comes, developers are really going to start pushing the envelope even further than probably they ever have. So we could probably still be in the same situation. Who knows? But I will say these limitations have really also forced developers to optimize their scenery unlike ever before. So that's forced them to get really, really diligent in when it comes to optimizing scenery. So you can see there Chase Plane giving us a nice camera shake. When I hit the brakes, I like that. Look at that, how it does that when I hit the brakes. I like that this is completely compatible with Track IR now. I am loving that. There's our Concorde. What happened to my music? Back here. There we go. I gotta set the mood. We're in France, baby. This is Paris. I need accordions. Accordions and baguettes. And then we're rocking. Alright, here we go. Let's make a left turn over here somewhere. I know there's chatting there, but I can't read the chat and try to maneuver this thing at the same time. Actually, you know what? While we're doing this, because one of the things that I was talking about was really seeing from the flight deck perspective those areas, these sunken areas where all the roads and stuff are. So I thought it was important that we do show that, which you can see down there. No car traffic down there though, but again, big difference as opposed to just looking at AI, or I'm sorry, looking at photoreal. You even have the street signs there as well. For Terminal 2. So I'll be bouncing back and forth between nighttime and daytime so we can get a full look. Let's go ahead and pull up to another gate over here. This is not a wide body gate though, is it? Can I pull a wide body up here? Will that work? Ah, I got way too much going on at once. I can't focus. Here we go. Okay, come on. Boy, I really apologize with my shaders. I guess I should, before every stream, I should just reset the shaders, just in case. You never know if something like that's going to happen. I'm turning the joystick, the Xbox one direction, and turning my head the other direction, and okay. Let's get this shit in control. I've got too many controls in my hand. I'm using the Xbox while I'm using the rudder. This is way too much going on here. Yeah, this really isn't a wide body gate, so I'm not really sure how this is going to work. I should have an A320 or something here because these don't move. But maybe if I can position the aircraft as such, I can maybe cheat a little bit. Oh, what's going on? Why is it saying parking brakes? Uh-oh. Why is it not disengaging my parking brake? I don't know. There's a wire behind my desk that is loose. And now I can't disengage a parking brake here. Alright, I'll figure that out in a minute. I don't think this is sunken, right? That's just this thing looking stupid. You know what? That's kind of... I'm gonna push my luck right now and switch aircraft. I'm gonna push my luck here. Actually, you know what? We do need to go to a wide body gate, though, don't we? Oh, you saying this is a wide body gate? You know what? Let me. What gate is this? This is gate Bravo 18. Let's pull Sodi back up here. Oh, it's stuck. Oh, is it seriously stuck? Oh, Sodi is stuck down there. Come on. Oh, there it is. Get back up here. Okay. Okay, so let's go to deselect current stand. Okay, we're not there anymore. Right, so we want to go to Bravo gates. And we're at, what is this? 18, we said, right? Let's go to 18. Okay, so we have selected stand 18. Alright, and let's see if we can dock the jetway to one left. Oh, look at that. Oh, the whole thing moves. Look at that. Whoa, why is this jumping like this? Something's up. I might be killing Bass here. I don't know why that's jumping around like that. That's not good. Alright, so that works. It only gave me the one option, though. So I'm wondering if I just slew this forward, will it still give me the option for both gates, I wonder? I'm just curious. My parking brake is stuck right now. I'm going to have to change airplanes unless something's wrong. Let's see. Dock to door 2 left. Let's see what happens there. Oh, jetway is misaligned. Okay. So there's really only so much I can do on this gate. This is actually not a wide body gate. I guess just, oops. Oops, I'm going to do that. This is actually not a wide body gate. It doesn't look like, I mean, according to the what's on the ground. I'm going to switch planes, but before I do that, let me just go to a gate because there were questions. Oops, what am I doing now? There were questions about getting all the jetways to dock. So I feel like before I switch into a narrow body, let me at the very least find a gate that I can go to. I don't know why I can't deactivate the parking brake. What the hell's going on here? Yeah, it's disengaged, but yet I'm still getting the parking brake warning. And the airplane's not going to move. There's something going on with the parking brake that's stuck. Oh, damn it. You know what? What else do I have in here? Alright, you know what? Let's do this. It's slew time. I'm sorry. If we get to that famed part of the show where stuff stops working, and I'm not sure why all of a sudden the parking brake won't disengage. I disengaged it, but for some reason the sim is tripping. So, alright, let's go. It's time to start slewing. These are all narrow body gates. We want to go to the new terminal, right? So let's go back over here. I know this is terrible. This is not how I want to show this, but things are looking kind of stupid right now. So let me just... Oh, is Shrek IR not working now either? I'm wondering if I just killed Vass or something. That could be. Because Shrek IR is not working now. Oh, there it goes. Okay. Just taking a quick look at the terminal from the flight deck here. At the new terminal. That looks pretty good from here. Okay, let's go back to the outside again. Because right now we're testing jet bridges. We've seen the airport, but now we need to test jet bridges here. So let's just... I'm going to slew this over to wherever it says 777, which is way at the front. Now, I don't have any kind of A380 installed, so we won't be able to test those upper bridges, unfortunately. This was gate what? Kilo 09. Let's deselect current stand. Stand deselected. Let's pull up SODI again. Select stand. I know I'm ignoring the chat here. Slewing like a pro. I know if there's such a way to do that. Let's see. I'm just checking the chat real quick. Oh, did I overheat the brakes? Oh, is that maybe what it is? Okay, maybe. Captain Ifart says, I'm waiting for a mushroom cloud that's about to happen in the LA area. Are you guys really that concerned about Vass? And that's true, Rolio saying, as far as PMDG loading the plane, not being the first load and all that nonsense. Yeah, that's true too. But okay, so we're at, what did I say what gate this was? This was Kilo 9. And let me go back to some of my night lights too. You can see that. And Kilo 9er. Let's see, K gates. Number 9. Wow, it looks like they really are all here. Dock jetway 1 to door 1 left. What's happening here? Unable to dock aircraft door what? Too close. See, that's what I thought. This needs to be backed up, but the 777, that's where it says 777. It's like way up there, so... Alright, let's leave it here. I thought something wasn't right. Okay, let's try that again. Okay. 1 left. There we go. You can kind of see where the door is on this thing. Sort of. Sorry, I'm not getting that smooth chase plane movement because I needed to speed it up a bit. Okay, yeah, that's more or less accurate. And now let's grab the second jetway. And we're going to dock to 2 left. Wait, did I miss it? Dock jetway 2, Kilo 9er. Oh, dock to door 2 left, right? Okay, he doesn't look like he's moving. Oh, unable to dock. I missed the error. What is that? Unable to dock. Aircraft door too far away from the jetway. Well, where the hell is the door supposed to be? I don't understand. Okay, let me move it forward again. Okay, let's undock. I don't know where the parking position is here, but clearly this is a parking position issue. I'm guessing. Dock 2, door 2 left. Okay, there it goes. Now it's going to go through that jet bridge. Dock jetway 1, gate Kilo 9. Why do they want to both go to 1 left? Are they both going to 1 left now? What are they doing? All right, there we go. Took me a minute to figure that out. So the problem is, because if there is no, see, there's no docking. Oh no, there it is. Does that work? That doesn't look lit to me, so I don't know if that even works or not. But I guess some of us are going to struggle, depending on the aircraft we have, trying to figure out where to stop. Because for a 777, which is what this thing is, if you stop it on the 777 line, the jet bridges aren't going to recognize it because it was too far forward. So that's a problem. Renee says jet bridge operator should be fired. Yeah, both of them. So I don't know how that's going to work. So you're going to have to play with it when you pull up to the gate. That's what it looks like. Damn, I'm really curious about that upper jet bridge, if that actually works or not. You know what? Let me just slew over there and see if it even gives us the option for a third jet bridge on the gate. I'm curious. If it, at the very least, if we see the option, then that... Oh, shit. Then I think that means it should work. I'm not even sure which line I should be on. I'm just going to grab this one. What gate is this? That's Kilo 13, so that's... Oh, are they still docked over here? Do they need to move back now that the plane is gone? Yeah, they do. Okay. And... what the hell? Okay. We have to wait for them to stop moving so we get an option here. Okay, they're done. I'm not at Kilo 9 now, so... Okay. Select other stand. We're going to go to Kilo 13. Oh shoot, there is no Kilo 13. Damn, it's not even there. Previous. It goes 5, 9, 17. There is no 13. What is this? That's 21. Is there? No, there's no upper bridge for 21. Huh. I am on K-gates, right? Yep. Okay, there is no 13. What else has an A380 bridge over here? So I guess that answers our question. The next gate is Kilo 23. There is no Kilo 23. It goes from 21 to 26. And there are no A380 gates over there, right? So we don't get... But the interesting thing is, though, is you don't even get the lower jet bridge options either. It's just the whole gates are just not even present. Kilo 26? Oh, wait. Okay, there's a Kilo 26. Okay, hang on. Let's go back and grab our airplane. That's some serious stuttering looking like going on over there. So I guess I overheated my brakes. Is that what I did? Is that why I kept playing with the brakes for the chase plane animation and it killed it? Alright, let's go to 26. Which one did I say 26 was? It was over here. I just want to see what options are available. Oh, shit. Sorry, I'm not used to using an Xbox controller with Flight Simulator, so... I'm trying to change my view, but it's instead slewing me around here. Sorry. Okay, let's come out of that. Okay, so Kilo 26, what options are available? Oh, there's only 2. So 1 and 2. So there's no A380 jet bridge there. So that answers that question. Alright, I'm going to change airplanes because this is driving me crazy now. So let's hope we don't run out of memory here. Let's see. Oh, 17. Line exit 13. Sorry, I see you guys there. I'm trying to focus on 2 separate computers at once here. So at least we see now there's no A380 bridges. So I think we figured that out. I don't have an A380 in here. Oh, I do. Oh, it is here. I don't know. Let's see. Alright, I don't know. Let's see. Look at this freaking whale. And chase plane, you reset my speed again. Why does the landing gear appear to be sunken in the ground? Oh, it's not sunken. I think that's the shaders still. Okay, let's move up. I still don't think it's going to give me that option though. Parking brake. I don't know if it's necessary or not. Hey, I got something that says Air France on it, so that's good. Let's see here. Alright, parking brake set, and let me just deselect current stand and reselect it just to see if it does anything. I don't know if it will. Alright, select stand. You said this was kilo 28 or 26, right? No, it's still just the 2. What is it saying? Oh, unable to dock. Door too far away. Okay. I don't know. Should I move it up? Too far away. Aircraft door. Head rotation. Out of head rotation range. I don't know what that means. Boy, I need to reset my shaders. Let's see here. The landing gear just disappeared from that side, didn't it? Let's try this one. Nope. Door out of jetway head rotation range. Okay. I don't know what the hell that means. Go closer, maybe. Nope. Unable to dock. Door too far away. It could be that it just doesn't recognize this airplane particularly. That could be it too. That would be my guess. Yeah, so it's not working on this one. Jordan says it's time to restart the sim. Oh boy. You think so? I don't know. Maybe it just doesn't recognize this plane, right? Because I think SODI recognizes certain aircraft maybe? I'm not really sure. So, let's switch to a narrow body now. A lot of this, I'm trying to test much of this as much as I can. But for the most part, you guys will test a lot of this, you know, when you get the scenery. But for now, let's grab a narrow body. And, oh, it's going to do that shader shit with this too. Maybe I should restart the simulator, huh? All my planes are looking like crap. What's going on here? Oh. I'm just curious. Will it recognize a 717 being parked at this gate? Out of curiosity. Okay, let's see. Nope, it doesn't like that gate either. Let's go to a narrow body gate. We've already tried that terminal in general anyway, so let's just take a look at this terminal here. I like how the music in the background is like perfectly playing. Okay, there we go. There it is. We did it. Now I have no choice. Boom. Alright, what time is it? How long have I been streaming now? There's still 177 people here, so I guess you're not bored yet. How long has this stream been going for? 2 hours, 2.5 hours. Oh my god. Okay, let's restart. This is terrible. My desktop is a little filthy. It's not usually this much junk on my desktop. There's pictures from the documentary that I'm shooting there, video. Okay, let's try this again. Now's a good time to try to catch up with the chat if I can. While we wait Oh, I need to save the control speeds as a preset. Oh, that's why. Why do I always just assume it just saves everything I does and uploads it to the cloud? Let's see. Just trying to catch up to the chat there. I see a lot of you guys are screaming at me for a minute there. Oh, do you think that's what it was? That Tody needed to be reset? Oh, shoot. You know what? I needed to delete the shaders, huh? I forgot to do that. Where's P3D in this thing? You know what? And okay, well, it automatically stops that when that's not playing anyway. Where's my music? I need to delete the shaders. Where the hell are the shaders? They're in app data somewhere, right? Where are the shaders? Jordan, where are the shaders? Remind me, somebody. I'm trying to remember. Is it in the program data file or in the app data? I'm trying to remember where the shaders are. I gotta delete that folder, right? And then it'll just rebuild it. I'm waiting for someone to tell me where the shaders are. Waiting for the delay. It's in the app data. Okay, thanks, Amos. Which is users. Jetline spelt my name wrong. That's okay. Lockheed Martin. It's in here somewhere, right? Am I in the right spot? Fly inside, CFG. Oh, local. Thank you. Wrong folder. Local, Lockheed Martin. Shaders. So I just dumped this whole thing, right? Can I just do that? Okay. Oh, so it's program data too. That's why I can't seem to remember. Well, I just pulled this one out, so let's see if it rebuilds it. There's like 2 different shaders and 2 different folders. Let's see, I haven't seen a new one pop up yet. I'm guessing it's going to do that any minute now. Oh, does PTA reset the shaders now? I didn't know that. I got it around here somewhere. Let me see. I don't see it repopulating the shaders folder. Right, like something should be loading by now. Renee says ADX tech support and sim maintenance show off what simmers do most of the time. Yeah, you're not kidding. You are not kidding. Can someone tell Stu Driver what PTA is and why he needs it in his life? All right, let's give it a second. That's true. You know, sometimes you'll sit down at the simulator and everything will just work like perfectly and you're like, oh my god, this is the best thing in the world. And other days you'll spend 2 or 3 hours troubleshooting crap and you'll never get to fly. But that's always been the case with Flight Simulator all the way back to FS9. It's the best thing since sliced bread. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, some days I'll sit here frustrated as hell. It's like a relationship. Well, there it is. Okay, there it goes. It did. Okay, cool. All right, so shaders reset. All right. What were we trying to do? We were trying that 717 now. Okay. What did you send me an article about? Renee? I mean, Amos? All right. We'll be flying. We'll be taxing a Qantas plane around Paris again. Okay. Another thing to note, too, is there are 2 Charles de Gaulle's in here. One that says Paris, and then the other one says T2G in here somewhere. I don't see it right now, though. Anyway, that's fine. All right, let's go back. Let's do it again. It is a rainy day out there today. What emails? I always ignore your emails, Amos. Come on now. PTA. You sent me an email about PTA? You talking about PTA or are you talking about Realism Shader Tool? Those are 2 different ones. There's a new Realism Shader Tool. He actually has his own website now. Realism Shader Tool. I wasn't sure if I was supposed to share it or not, or if he's released it. I need to ask him. But yeah, Realism Shader Tool has a new website and a new version out that I did not report on that I need to catch up with. So that's true. But I didn't know that there was more news on PTA. I did miss that email. I'll have to go back and check. Okay, this can't be good. Okay, it's loading. All right, here we go. What else is open that I need to probably close? Failed to create render target. Holy crap, that doesn't look good. I'm not sure what that means. I hope that's not bad. I never saw that before. All right, let's go back in the simulator and try this again. I need to quickly cheat. Where's that thing at? Alright, let's give that a minute to catch up. And Palocchio says it's raining hard in downtown LA. I never go there. I can hear it raining here, though, where I live. We're near the ocean, and it's coming down over here. Okay. Let me adjust this thing here. Alright, that works. Do I have engines yet? Oh, where's Shakai? Where are you at? There you are. Alright, so let's go back over and find a narrow body jet bridge now. Whoa, this thing is bouncing, isn't it? Maybe that's too much bounce in this plane. Okay, let's work our way back over to the terminals and try the rest of the jet bridges here. Where's that? Take this next turn off. Oh, actually that turn off is blocked, isn't it? It's saying you can't turn here, but guess what I'm gonna do? I feel like we've already seen all this. I feel like I want to just slew on over there. Let's just do that. I don't want to take forever slewing around or taxiing around the airport. We're going to shoot through a bunch of buildings and then find another taxiway like this one. Actually, no, let's go right back to where we were. Here we go. That's fine. That's good. We'll be here all night. All right, so we're gonna try these jet bridges next. Ooh, hit the brakes. No wonder I'm heating the brakes. Look at that. I'm all over the place here. Yeah, I'd say this terminal is my favorite. The way they rendered this one, it definitely looks nice. Okay, I'm way off taxiways here. Hopefully it's not going to say my aircraft is too low now that I realize these are some really high gates. I don't know. We'll just see what happens. That pausing is not the scenery. That's me doing stuff. Trying to turn on the night lighting here. There we go. We can see different times of the day pulling up to the terminal here. Alright, so let's stop somewhere around here. I have a strong feeling it's going to say that my aircraft is too low. Okay, parking brake, if that actually works. Alright, so let's pull up Sim Object Display Engine again. And see if these things will actually drop to my small airplane here. What stand are we at now? Echo 18, looks like that's what that says. I need to speed up Trek IR again. It's moving, or not Trek IR, Chase plane is too slow. That's still too slow. Come on. I don't know. This looks like it's not moving any faster. Okay, so we said this was Echo 18. Echo Gates 18. Let's see if it says I'm too short. Yep, aircraft is too low for jetway extension, so let's go to a narrow body gate then. And we slew over. That's a narrow body jetway, so let's come over here. Oops, I don't want that button, I want this button. I got too many buttons here. Okay, let's pull up to this terminal then, and let's try a jet bridge over here. Now these jet bridges are a lot lower, so I would like to think that I'm not going to have a problem over here, but you never know. Again, when you see these terminals from this point of view, you can really see how good they look. I mean, completely different perspective from before. And again, just changing the daylight to nighttime. So they're lit up very nicely at night. And then go to daytime. So overall, that looks really good. I don't think SimWings is going to beat that, regardless of what they do. I just don't see that happening. I almost feel like these jet bridges are still too high, but let's see. We'll deselect. Let's find out where we are. Let's try this again. Charlie Gates now. That's Charlie 8. Let's see, I probably should first put the airplane on the center line. How about that? Does that sound like a good idea? Chase plane, you're moving way too slow. Let's move that up a little bit. I don't know, let's just see. It might tell me that it's too low. Charlie Gates, Charlie 8. Might have to go to the other side. You have selected following stand, Charlie 8, Dock Jetway 1. Aircraft door too low. Use extension, what does that mean? Oh, too low during extension. You know what? I think the 717 is just not programmed in SOTA yet because it's new. Sorry, I'm kind of quickly moving around here. Because I want to try to find a jet bridge to dock with this plane, but I don't think anything is, to be honest. I can't see what I'm doing. There we go. That's where I want to go. Let's try these gates over here and see if these make a difference at all. These are definitely narrow body gates. Because I remember when we were at Genova, we had the same issue at Genova where it was saying it was just too low for this aircraft, even though we were parked on an MD-80 gate, which was weird enough as it was. So I don't know. Let's try again. We'll just park on that A320 and hope that that's enough. So it could be the airplane, to be honest. I'm just going to switch back into the flight deck view so we can see the look of the terminal from here. And actually, you know what? You can see the glass a lot better. Earlier in the stream, I said that from certain angles, you really couldn't see the glass on some of these gangways. But from here, actually, it is much more noticeable now. And let's look at the night lighting versus daylight. There you go. Get the full shadows of day and night there. Alright, let's try the jet bridges again. So we're at Fox Gates now. Select. Bring it back up. Select. And what is this? F4. Yeah, it's saying it's too low. So let's grab the Aerosoft Airbus. So that, I don't think anything is going to dock with the TFDI 717. I think the SOTA guys just need to update that. Yeah, and like Captain IFR is saying, I was on an MD-80 gate and it was saying I was too low. So I think they have to program these airplanes in here. I think is how that works. So we're just going to grab the Aerosoft because that one should definitely work. We have a flight coming in from Austria. Niki Lauda. Okay. Can I speed that up a little bit? Alright, where's the airplane at? I don't even see it. Whoa! What happened there? Chase plane, what's going on? Oh, chase plane just took a crap. It didn't like that I just changed that. It really didn't. Okay, let's see if we can bring it back. Come on. Nope. Alright, I just lost chase plane, it looks like. I did. I lost chase plane. It's gone. Alright, well, let's go to outside with the keys, hopefully. Okay, I get it. You're saying it's misconfigured, but I need to get to work here, so. Alright, so let's pull this up a little bit here. And this one should definitely work. Come on. And there's our A320 parking position. Almost there. Come on. Ah, that should be good enough. Alright, so this was Echo 4 we said, right? So that should just work. There we go. So the TFDI 717 just doesn't have that option yet. So that was the issue there. I think this has been pretty thorough, to be honest. Showing off this airport. I've lost my hat switch because Chase Plane isn't working. Let me see. Can I get my hat switch back? Nope. I don't know. Chase Plane really dogged me just now. I'm not sure what happened. And if I... Okay, there we go. So this is pretty much it. I'll just chill around here for a second to see if there's something else that someone wanted to see. Because again, I know that initially a lot of folks are like really wondering, should I get it? Shouldn't I get it? Is it good? Is it not good? So I wanted to do my best to let you make that determination on your own by simply showing you live almost everything. I'm going to taxi back over to that other terminal because we didn't get to pull up to that one yet. As soon as I find where Sodi is, there you go. We're going to undock that jetway. So for those who know this airport, if there's something that you wanted to see that I didn't show, now is the time. That's so funny. Yeah, my music. Julioquio wants to know how much the airport is. Okay, we'll take a look at the price. Before I taxi over, let's head over to Sim Market and actually take a look at the price of the airport. Hang on. Yeah, I love the music in the background. That's really... Let's go. So, Sim Market, which is the only place you can buy this, I think. Put it back to desktop here. Where is it? Right at the top. And look at the two dominating sales here. It's Charles de Gaulle, and this actually, Paris is what bumped Milan into second place. So, two really good sceneries. And if you haven't seen Just Sim, where did that come from? Wait, did I not? Was that just... What I'm looking at here? Jetstream, thank you. That changed for a minute there. For this week. So yeah, if you missed this Jetstream Milan, you definitely got to check out the stream that I did on that one up on our YouTube page. So 26 euros. That's 30 bucks. That's actually not bad. 30 bucks and 24 pounds. So that's how much this will set you back, which I think is I think it's very adequately priced, to be honest, for a mega airport. That's 30 bucks is about the going rate, right? So that's pretty much right at that mark. So I'm just gonna hop back in here. And by the way, you can go to Taxi2Gate.org. They have a new forum up, so if you'd like to if you need support for anything, go to Taxi2Gate.org. And for forum support. That's their new forum, and that's where I recommend you go if you have any issues. It doesn't look like I'm going to get Track IR back up and running here, because Track IR, if you use Track IR with Chase Plane, you now need Chase Plane for Track IR to work. So, and Chase Plane has crashed on me just now, so I'm not sure what the deal is here. So nearly done with the stream. If there's any questions you guys have, now would be the time to ask. I'm going to slew around here. I'm just going to go over to the other terminal because we didn't try those gates. So, final call, final boarding call. If there's anything that you guys want to see with this scenery, now is the time. I'm actually curious. I want to try some of these older gates. Let me come on. I'm going to come all the way down to the end here. Yeah, I'm curious to try about one of these again. I think we did try them earlier, but I'm just going to try it again. Restart my music one last time. So once again, this is the kind of the final boarding call. If there's any part of this scenery that you want to see that I didn't show, or anything you need me to demonstrate with this scenery, now's the time. I will be planning a Manchester versus Manchester live stream. Probably that'll come next Saturday, I'm thinking, or Sunday, depending on the time that I have. Oop, let's back that up a little bit. All right, where's the A320? It's like right there. That's interesting that you have two of these bridges here, though, but you can only dock to like one, which is kind of odd. And the gate is Bravo 18 for this gate. Select stand. Bravo 18. And dock. What is it? Oh, door and jetway is misaligned. Well, I thought I was on the A320s. Oh, well, maybe I'm not. I have a feeling, though, that the marking... Oh, come on, stop. You know what? Hang on. I need to hit that parking brake. Okay. Let's try it again. Oh, there it is. And this time the whole thing didn't need to raise up. It just moves straight forward. But this whole thing raises up, which is cool. So, yeah, they've got the jet bridges working. No A380 gate yet. So, hopefully that'll be a SODI update or something like that. But all of the jet bridges that we've seen so far, they connect really well with SODI. So, you're not going to have any problems there. I don't have my GSX installed, unfortunately. So, we don't get to see it from that point of view. But for the most part, this is it. Let me just check the chat one more time, see if there's anything else you guys want to see. Let's see. Andrews, or no, I'm sorry. Shaq Flights is asking, how would I compare this to Fly Tampa? Well, the difference between this and Fly Tampa, I would say Fly Tampa, the way their texture methods are, I mean, they've been around for a lot longer. So I would say that in a lot of areas like building textures is better with Fly Tampa, but that's just because it's Fly Tampa. I mean, that's to be expected. But what I like better about Charles de Gaulle over the Fly Tampa is you have transparent glass and internal modeling in a lot of areas. And so that's where I like this airport better than Amsterdam. You know, there are a lot of, if you really want to nitpick and get nitpicky, we can. I mean, in terms of things like parking lots and landside areas and fences, this misses a lot of those features that Fly Tampa has. But when it comes to sunken roads and taxi bridges and stuff like that, they both have those elements too. So it's more of a pros and cons scenario, I would say. But I like them both. Amsterdam, I tend to be a little bit partial to because it's my favorite European airport. But Zurich would be probably my second, followed by Charles de Gaulle. So this would be my third. So, I mean, in terms of how it's done, I saw a question about doing dusk lighting and night lighting. So there it is for you. So this is what I'm going to say, because there are a lot of questions about, as I get into Jerry Springer's final thoughts here. You know, there was a lot of questions about, okay, the coloration, is it any good? How accurate is it? So I've been here many times. I can tell you that it is about as accurate as I can remember since the last time I've been here. Aside from that, comparing it to the old SimWings version, obviously this is far more updated, but, you know, you can see where a developer has gotten it right in terms of how you can compare it to the product of another developer. Additionally, if we get down to the question as to whether or not you should buy it, because I mean that's the big thing. Now, you've all sat through this stream here. I've been at this now for a couple of hours, 2.5 hours. So you can surmise for yourself as to whether or not you should get it. But if you want my opinion to tell you as to whether or not you should get it, then I'm going to say yes. And the reason why I'm going to say yes is for a few reasons. Number one, it looks really good. So I don't think there's any question about whether or not, you know, the airport looks good. Second, the performance. Does it have good performance? And it has excellent performance. I ran the PMDG 777. I was getting, between 45 and 50 frames per second. That was with no AI traffic. AI traffic is, you know, everyone's, I think, experience is going to vary in that regard. You know, it has a lot of great features. Like I said, the performance is really good. I have that Paris City freeware in the background, and that has absolutely no effect on performance. I ran out of memory once, but when you consider I was in a helicopter at first, And then I switched over to the 777, and then I switched over to the 717. Of course, you're going to run out of VAS doing stuff like that, loading up 3 aircraft, and then turning AI on and off and on and off. So, so you're not going to have any problems with VAS. VAS is actually pretty low here. In fact, if you want me to bring up Process Explorer, I can do that for you, if I can find it. Where is it? Where did I put Process Explorer? I don't even know. Anyway, let me pull up Process Explorer for you, if you're curious. Where is it? Okay, so where is P3D on this list here? Let's find P3D. Sorry, you can't see it just yet. I'm just looking for P3D on the list here. Oh, there it is. So the virtual size, is which is what we're looking for on Process Explorer. Let me just go to desktop. So this is actually lower than Flight Tampa Amsterdam. So Flight Tampa AMS, I was like 3,400 somewhere on the virtual size. So here is actually less than Flight Tampa. So there's that too. So, and you guys have been enjoying AMS. I haven't heard anything negative really about AMS. So, and this is for an airport of this size, that's pretty much what you're going to be working with. This, of course, with no AI traffic. So, I don't know what else to tell you. I mean, you know, like I said, SimWings, they said they're going to update. I don't know if they're going to update or if they're going to release a new version, but this is what I'm going to say about SimWings. Number one, SimWings, you're not going to get that internal modeling if you care about that sort of thing. Additionally, if you go back and look at the products that they have updated, they have, you know, brought the airports up to their current real-world standards, but in terms of like quality of the products, I mean, I wouldn't say it's really increased all that much because they're just updating airports. So, for example, when you look at, let me see, you got 3 islands. You got Ibiza, Mallorca, and Menorca. So I think it's Menorca, where you've got that new terminal and it's like all glass. But, you know, that was a perfect opportunity for SimWings to do something new and different over what they've been doing for the last 10 years. But instead they didn't. They just kind of left it at that kind of just polarized glass, and it's a small airport. So you're not going to have any issues with VAS. You're not going to have any issues with performance. It's really small. That would have been an excellent opportunity for them to experiment and do something new. So my concern with SimWings going back and doing Charles de Gaulle is they're not going to do anything new. All I see them doing is just updating it to the current real world standard, which Taxi2Gate has already done. So I'm not sure what they're going to offer. I mean, in order for them to beat this, they'd have to really start from scratch. They'd have to look at everything Taxi2Gate got right, and then they'd have to emulate that. And again, if we come back over here and we look at this area where you have the sunken roads and trees and all of this and taxi bridges, SimWings didn't do any of that, and I can't think of any SimWings product where they have emulated a taxi bridge. I can't think of one. Someone will tell me and remind me, but I can't think of one, and certainly in their last version of Charles de Gaulle, they didn't. So you had, you know, like a little line here of a bridge, but then it was just photoreal. So even if they did update it, they'd have to update a product that's already, 10 years old, and then update it to then include all of this, which probably would be better to just build a new airport. So even if they do all of those things, right, internal modeling, taxi bridges, and then they beat Taxi2Gate somehow in terms of quality and blah, blah, blah. If they, like I said, if they started today, the way I've been following them, you're looking at like getting that airport sometime around 2019, 2020. So it's easy to say maybe in 2 years, but if you put it that way, like in 2018, maybe they'll deliver it by then. That's a long-ass wait. And to be absolutely honest, you know, there's only two other developers that I would personally see doing this airport any better, and that would be Flytamp or FS Stream Team. I mean, there's other talent out there that could do it, like LH Simulations or even maybe Jetstream Designs, you know, but I mean, I don't think it's necessary for this airport to be done again. I think Taxi2Gate has done an excellent job. There's some shortcomings in some areas, which I've already pointed out. It definitely needs an update. The AVCAT needs some serious tweaking if you're going to be using AI with it. But for the most part, I like it. And if you're wondering if I should tell you if you should get it, I certainly think you should. Textures in some areas, it's a little bit inconsistent in some areas I've noticed. Especially like around in here, and there's an area over here as well that I noticed, but it's not that it's bad, it's just not as consistent with certain other parts of the airport. But again, when you take into consideration the performance of this airport, which right now, if I pull up the performance thingy, what am I getting right now? Sitting here at the gate, I'm getting 70 frames per second. And I don't think that will show up on... Will it show up in desktop mode? No, it doesn't show up because of how it's cropped. But I'm getting 60 frames per second. So, I mean, the bottom line is, regardless of what kind of frames you're going to get, you can put it this way. You've been watching the stream. If you have a decent internet connection, then you already know, you've already seen how smooth everything was. So you only saw stuttering when I turned the AI up to 70%. So, I mean, and that's what kind of killed it. And that will do that with any airport almost pretty much. So, yeah, I definitely think you should get it. I think they've done a great job. It's $30. They've spent the entire year working on this. Taxi2Gate came under a lot of criticism about rushing airports out the gate. I'm coming upon 3 hours, and I'm going to stop this stream at exactly 3 hours. But Taxi2Gate has come up upon a lot of criticism of just rushing. They took pretty much all of 2016 to work on this. So... as far as what they're going to do next, I've spoken with them, and right now they're working on a short list and possibly a poll of what would be voted. If you want my opinion in terms of what I think they should do next, I think they should do Johannesburg. I think that would be the perfect airport for Taxi2Gate. If you look at Istanbul, I think, if they can bang out a nice Joburg, I think that would be a nice next step for them. But it all depends. So they are working on a short list. They are in the process of trying to maybe put together a poll and let you vote on what that might be. So it could be anywhere. I guess we'll have to just wait and see. But for the most part, yeah, that's dropped. That was at 200 at some point, babe. The wife is spying here. I wasn't calling you guys babe. Don't worry about that. But anyway, yeah. So I think it's excellent. But listen, my opinion doesn't mean shit because you've seen the stream yourself. We've covered the entire airport. And, it's up to you. I agree, these tunnels do look a little too black. I'm wondering if something maybe a little bit more creative could be done there. That does look like black walls. That's kind of true. Someone pointed that out a little bit earlier. So let me just run through last chat one more time. Someone's saying they should do Newark. Newark is in development already. Sue Driver's asking, what am I getting the music from? I got that off of YouTube. I just went to a random YouTube video. I went to YouTube and typed in generic Parisian music, and this is what came up. And so I just downloaded the song and been looping that in the background. Let me see. So just checking to make sure I covered all my bases here. Captain IFR says, I must be sadistic as I find it funny to hear the calming background music as DeAndre fights the simulator and associated programs and have a meltdown. Could you imagine me just like having a straight cussing fit with this music playing in the background? Kind of reminds me of those old 1920s Hollywood movies that didn't have any speaking roles but just played music in the background. It's kind of funny. And Video Kingo says, or however you pronounce that, Taxi2Gate is planning to release an update within the end of the week. So, okay. And we did show dusk and night textures. No problems with terrain. Sue Driver says the only thing he noticed with the terrain is that the colors are way off with FTX, no blending. Yeah, the colors are a little bit more of a faded. I didn't point that out, and thank you. When you go back and watch us on YouTube, you'll see that as we fly over the threshold, the colors are a little bit more of a lighter faded color over OpenLC Europe, which is actually what I'm using. So, Let me see. So a few of you look like you're tempted to pick it up, although you don't jump across the pond often. I see that. Let's see. Anything else? And Amos, if you can, if you're still there, if you want to put a link to the Paris freeware, so people can grab the city as well. Let's see. And Sue Jarvis says, this is the first scenery my wife okayed because she loves Paris. It might help if I had the music too. Yes, and then you'll have to take her out to dinner too and give her wine. So, yeah. Let's see. And Med says he's been working with a developer on Burbank. Oh, were you the one helping him with the Burbank? Yeah, he's still gonna work on Burbank, but he's kind of in the background on that. So he's got other stuff coming up before that. I know. I'm like, what's going on with Burbank? Because I was gonna take some pictures there as well for him. But yeah, I didn't know that. So you're the guy who works for SkyWest, right, Metz? Is that you? You work for SkyWest at Burbank? Yep, that's you. Okay. Yeah, you know what? I need to get an update and find out what's going on with that. But if you knew what he's working on right now, you would be okay with it. So maybe you should email him and ask him what he's working on. In fact, we're going to have some previews pretty soon. I haven't mentioned the name of the developer, so I can tell you it's Portland. We're going to see some previews of Portland coming up really, really soon. So make sure you hang out on Air Daily X, because I'm going to start teasing you guys in the coming weeks. So I didn't see any other questions or anything else. So hey guys, it's Sunday afternoon. We've been here together, you and me, for 3 hours, 4 minutes, and 8 seconds. So hey, thanks for hanging out. I hope you enjoyed the stream as always. Hope you found it informative. And again, my job with AirDailyX.net is to help you kind of get better informed decisions on what to purchase. So I do give my opinions, but I do try to put it up here so you can decide for yourself. And hopefully you've seen it. I think they've done a great job. I think you should get it. I certainly love it. And now that I have this, I have Amsterdam, we've got Milan, we've got London. I mean, we've got all these, Dublin, all these wonderful airports in Europe now. I got to start getting back into IFR flying, which the 717 is the airplane that's going to help me do that for a lot of these short hops. So, Ben, Airline to Sim, get that 717 program, please. Other than that, guys, thanks so much. It's been a pleasure. It's been fun. Hope you enjoyed the music. It's been wonderful. We are back in Paris again. So that leaves the question, what is the next European airport that should be done next? Now, we already know that Madrid is in development, so there's already that. So as far as what hasn't been announced, like what should be the next European airport? Leipzig, I'm going to have some more screenshots for you. If you haven't seen the last ones, go to AirDailyX.net and pull up the Leipzig screenshots. That's coming up soon. I don't know. It's a good question. But listen, whatever it's going to be, Air Daily X will be here and we will enjoy it together. So, happy Sunday. And Manchester versus Manchester will probably be the next one coming up. Not 100% sure. But hey, enjoy Flight Simulator. Enjoy life. And I will see you all back here for the next live stream. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Let's fade out on that music.